Our next guest manages more than £10 billion in assets, and she says the emerging risk and volatility is a key factor for investors. Virginie Maisonneuve is head of global equities at Schroder Investment Management. Really good to see you. How are investors' behaviours changing as we've got that 6 days to go to hit that deadline in the United States?
Well, I think, we have to expect a chaotic environment. We knew basically past 2 weeks that we had two very important milestones, being the European side with sovereign debt, etc., and the US debt ceiling. And I think, we can expect the markets to be very volatile, very nervous. I actually think that we might even go past the August 2nd deadline, given where we are.
That would mean default.
Well, we might be on default for a couple of days, but my understanding is that we could pass the deadline and actually try to have a resolution by August 15th, for example, and that would be fine.
Well, that would be very interesting indeed. Let's take a look at what we're actually seeing, though, on the ground. What are the trends that you are seeing? Because I mentioned it's the tech and the miners that are doing particularly well. What's the trend that's forming?
Well, I really like Google. I really like Apple still in terms of stocks, even talking about names like Checkpoint. In the IT sector in general, I really like the high-end consumer.
You still like Apple even though it's $400 a share?
Yes, I still like it. I think that, people are expecting that basically the copy factor to really catch up with them, with a lot of companies coming with tablets. We heard about Samsung yesterday with very strong sale in smartphones powered by the Android system that Google sells. But I think actually with new generations of products, they're going to continue to surprise the market. And I really like that high-end consumer side of the business globally.
But what is it about tech? Because they're facing the same economic pressures as everybody else. So how come they are able to put record profits in place and incredible share prices when everybody else is struggling? It's the same environment.
Yeah, it is. But there's actually a big divergence in trend within consumers. If you look at the US, about 20% of the population owns about 60 to 80% of the wealth. For those people, buying another iPod, an iPhone is not really an issue. Again, going to Apple, you also have the effect of leverage from entering the CDMA market, but also extending the number of people they're selling their phone to. 228 carriers, I believe they're at now. If you look at Checkpoint, it's security. Digital security is important. As we know, it's one of the biggest threats, and this is not the kind of thing you compromise on. So in the case of Checkpoint, you have a company with innovative software, a lead on their competitors in terms of delivery with their new Blade architecture. And I think, people are still underestimating the amount of money that corporate world will spend on software security, on digital security. So those are exceptions, and that's what you need to do in that market of volatility.
Tight focus.
Very tight focus, follow your process, find niche companies. BG is another one of them that we like very much, doing very well today. But, that you want to have in your portfolio as core holdings and basically take advantage of market volatility to trade a little bit in the name if you have unwanted or unwilling weakness, if you will.
Talking of threats, as you just were, what about the threat of the banks, certainly the Spanish banks? We've had Santander reporting today. I know you don't go into comment about that necessarily, but in general, how worried are you by that contagion threat?
I don't own them.
No.
So, I think that the package that we had last week is a step in the right direction. But I do not believe that, when the EU says it's isolated to Greece, I find that very difficult to in terms of the package extension. My personal view is that, we should have Ireland and Portugal knocking on the door very soon. So I think it's a step in the right direction because we had a deal between the banks and the government, 21% haircut. This is what we need to have, but beyond that, there's more to come. I am not interested in Spanish banks at this point.
Okay, we are though. Virginie Maisonneuve, for other reasons. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks
for joining us here on Bloomberg today.